going on, you guys? So this is what I got for today. Now if you guys saw the last video, you might have seen me mention that the front bumper was rubbing and it was still too low, and I actually had to fix the front lip, that Kevlar lip on the front bumper. Well, last Monday, Memorial Day, I had the car on the platform and I was trying to load it on the trailer, but I kept on moving over to too close to one side, so I had to keep on kind of trying to maneuver the vehicle and move it over to get it on the trailer just right. Well, the last time I backed it up off the trailer onto the platform and was going to load it on again, the front bumper hit. And yes, I should have taken off the front bumper. I should have taken it off, but I didn't. But anyways, it did mess up the lip again, but it did do this. These are the mounting areas where it bolts onto the fender right up on the top. And you can see that it cracked that little area right there, and it completely broke off this area right here. Now I thought of using these guys. These are basically just, you put a piece like somewhere right here, and then you put another piece on the fender, and the little that O-ring that's there kind of cinches it together. I didn't want to go that route. I also thought of doing the quick push button disconnect thing, but I'd still have to take off all of the bolts here to take off the bumper. So I went ahead, and what I'm going to do is make a plate that goes mounted on the bottom of here, and then I'll rivet it on, and that'll support this area, and then I could put the screw in. It'll still, be able to, all the part of it will be hidden. Making out of aluminum. I'd already made the kind of the paper template, and I'll transfer it onto the aluminum, cut it out. That'll go right there, just like that. And then I will use these rivets on the top end to hold that plate underneath. Just kind of sandwich it and give it more strength. That way it doesn't rip off the plastic. So yeah, that's my project for today, and I got to get it done today because tomorrow is the car show in Red River. So that means I got to get this done today. I took a break from working on customers' projects. Actually, I just finished one, but I'm going to get this done today. Go home, charge the battery again. Yeah, I ordered all the stuff that I need to do to make the battery relocated underneath the front bumper. And so yeah, once I get that done, hopefully I won't have to be charging it over and over and over again. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get it ready tonight, kind of wash it up real quick, clean it up. Inside's still good. Haven't even gotten inside it since last Monday. So we'll get it all done, get this bumper fixed, and then get the car ready, and we'll leave. I'm not even sure what time the car show starts, like 8 or 9. And the car's already on the trailer, so I just gotta hook up the trailer, and then we'll leave off early in the morning. Alright, so here is the completed little brace, I guess is what it is. And like I say, that'll be mounted on the bottom side, just like that, and give this area, this platform, some stability, because the screw is going to go through the bottom. Of course, I'll use these guys to go through and then attach that onto there. So yeah, so hopefully that works. We'll see. Maybe the whole rivet will get ripped off. If that happens, then of course I might have to go using these things. So the car show actually was really nice. It was just nice to get out of town, go to a setting like that where it's just kind of in an isolated area with the mountains surrounding the town, and just a beautiful setting. We got rained out. So yeah, it wasn't too late. About 3 o'clock it started raining, so I loaded up the car on the trailer and brought it back. Still got to fix all these little tiny things that are on this car, like the starter button is not working, which I think might be the relay is underpowered. I might have to go to a direct setup with a solenoid or something like that, because if I jump the starter with like some pliers or something like that, it'll start right up. But if I try the push button, it'll just click. It won't turn over the starter. So I think that's the problem. So that's number 1 on my list. Number 2, got to fix the camber on these rear wheels. I have the adjustable upper arms, control arms, so I can pull these wheels out. I mean, it doesn't need much, but you can tell that they are pushed in on the top, this way. So yeah, I got to fix that. Another thing I got to fix, or not fix, but actually wire up, are the turn signals, front and rear. Other than that, the car runs really good. Another thing I got to wire up the cluster. So it's mostly just wiring. There's some small little details that I got to go to the junkyard, scrapyard, and find parts. I got to find the turn signal arms for the inside in order to have all that work. I have to find the harness that goes to the cluster as well. I have to find also a new channel that runs down all the way down. I reused all of these moldings and weather stripping and stuff that's on the car is new, except for this one that went down into the channel, because I could not find those. I might have to get those again at a scrapyard or something like that. We'll see. If I can find them new, I'll buy them new. One other thing I got to do is I got to find this little piece here. Even though it's non-functional, it covers up a hole that's right here. I don't have the other side. And what else? Like I say, it's just little tiny things. Oh, and I got to hook up that coolant temperature sensor, or not sensor, but meter from the engine to the inside, so I can accurately tell how hot this car is getting. Brakes are working good. Everything else is working pretty good. So yeah, but this is probably the last show that I'm going to attend for a while. That truck is just way too underpowered for being a V8. It just can't handle pulling this car on the trailer. I'm going up a hill, an incline, and I'm doing like 25-30 miles an hour going up the incline. And it's just not acceptable. So yeah, but this will probably be the last car show or cars and coffee meet that I attend for a while, until I can figure all this out. Like I say, I changed the spark plugs on that truck and serviced the transmission, and it's still way underpowered. So hopefully, yeah, once I get all this stuff fixed, I can start working on it a little at a time. For the most part, the hard part is done. Engine seems to be working good. I don't hear any major problems. I still got to take it to get tuned, but I want to fix all of these small little things before I do that. So we'll see what happens. So this happened. I've been taking apart all of the wiring, going to the starter, because I've had that problem with the car not wanting to turn over. And I was watching a couple of videos on diagnosing what might be the problem. Now, I can start the vehicle if I jump the two wires on the starter from the solenoid onto the motor, and it'll turn over just fine. And I've had to do that for the last couple of times that I've taken it to car shows. And so what I did primarily was I took the wire that goes from the start button right there, instead of running it through the relay, through that power distribution block, all to the starter, I ran it just straight to the starter. And it'll turn on after, like, I press it like maybe 10 times. But yeah, it's still not, starting right away. So I watched a couple of videos, and some guy said that you might need to put the SW3 solenoid because there's not enough power going to the solenoid on the starter. So I tried that, and it still didn't work. I mean, it didn't even click at all. So there goes that. That didn't work at all. Another thing I'm going to go ahead and try is using a thicker gauge wire instead of what's on here. This is a pretty thin gauge wire. I'm hoping maybe there's not enough juice running through that that wire that's going in that harness. So I'm going to get a thicker gauge wire, run it to the starter, and then run it up here, connect it directly up to this, and see if that works. Alright, so the continuing saga of trying to get this car to start without a hitch continues. So basically what I did this morning was I went to the hardware store and picked up some 12 gauge wire, some female blade connectors. I've had this stuff, which is the loom, which goes over the wiring, some more extra heat shrink tubing, and all, basically all the other stuff that I've had. And I've soldered on that blade type connection onto a piece of that 12 gauge. Originally on the harness that I bought was a very, very small wire that was, basically what I thought, hey. Okay, so, yeah, so it was a very thin wire, and after all of the videos that I've watched, I am YouTube certified. I have found that there, yesterday I tried the solenoid that I saw on a video, and of course that didn't work. So I went ahead and I hooked up the 12 gauge wire directly to the harness, or the switch panel, and completely bypassed this little tiny wire that's right there. I hooked up the solenoid up to that front, not solenoid, the blade connection up to the solenoid, and ran it through here. Of course, you can see that I've put the loom and everything over it, and I've kind of, I don't know, just rudimentally wired it up to the panel here. Let's see what happens. I don't need that. That's headlights. That is ECU, fan, fuel on. Ignition, which goes to your distributor. And immediately starts. So yeah. Yeah, okay. So let's turn it off. So that looks like that might have been the problem. So what I need to do now is go ahead and run that wiring through, tie everything up, solder it onto that wire that's right there, and then heat shrink it, of course. And yeah, that'll take care of that problem. You keep on hearing me bitch about the winter time, but the thing about the summertime is there's all of these little tiny bugs that fly around everywhere, and they will bite the shit out of you. But I'm trying to get this stuff done. Today is Wednesday or something like that. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, I just need to try and figure out what's going on with all the other stuff. I went and bought some relays for the turn signals, so hopefully I can get all that wired up. I did cut a hole into that panel on the front so I can hook up that water line, but I got to drain the fluid again so I could go ahead and hook up that thing. But right now, as it is a breath of fresh air trying to figure out what was going on with this starter. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish all these lines, tie them up. What are we working on today? Well, I will tell you. Went ahead and pulled off the intake and ran this right here. I got to get a grommet to go in that hole. It came with one, but for some reason I can't find it now. That is the sending unit for the coolant temperature meter inside. I drained all the fluids or the coolant, and then ran that, plugged it all back up. Pretty much went according to plan. And also, while I was at it, I snipped off a few of the sensors that I'm not using, because last night, as you just saw, I ran that line that goes to the solenoid to the inside. These are some of the sensors that I took off here. The fan, I don't need that one because there's a thermal switch on the radiator that came from Chase Bays, the kit to hook up the fans and stuff like that. The idle air control valve, I deleted that, and this was the OEM sending or the signal that went to the starter. So we have a new one of those. Still have a mess in here, but went ahead and mounted that. So that looks pretty good. I painted that rim on the other side right here. I painted that black. It used to be kind of like a silver color. Mounted these guys with the new switch. I haven't put these together quite yet, because I still have to run the power lines from the switch right here to the front when I get the battery and the tray. It's still it's just not charging the battery. Last night I turned it on, and it started pretty good, and then I turned it off, tried to start again, the battery is dead, so I have it charging right now. It should have enough juice in there. Let's see if it works. Turn on power. Yeah, see, and it starts right away. That is just, yeah, so it just happened to be that, number one, either there was a break in the line that went from the starter signal to the front, to the solenoid, or the line was too small, because I used a 12 gauge wire, and that seemed to take care of the problem. Now, I'm going to let this run for a little bit and see what the temperature gets up to, because like I say, on my phone, on the Hondata app, it always reads 151 degrees, and I let it run for a while and it was still at 151. So that's why I got this, just to kind of double check and make sure that it is correct, which I pretty much doubt it, but we'll see. So, okay, I just let the car run, I don't know, maybe 15-20 minutes, and the highest it got up to was 180 degrees. The fans kicked on, of course, so yeah, the app's not accurate for some reason, but it's not overheating, so yeah. I do got to tighten the fitting, because I saw that it was leaking. Tighten this one too. Hopefully that'll take care of that. And so yeah, so now we have a temperature gauge that's working, and the starter works now perfectly. Now, last thing we got to, well, not last thing, but one of the things I got to figure out is why that battery isn't charging. I did have it running earlier, and I put the meter on the positive connection right there on the alternator, and it was still reading that it was a 12 volt output. So I'm not sure why that battery isn't charging. It's a new battery, but for some reason it's just not charging. So yeah, it's just little things I got to figure out. And so next thing on the list, I guess probably this weekend, is go ahead and try and figure out how to wire up the turn signals. But other than that, that's pretty much done. And yeah, it's coming along.